I'm going to help you figure out what to do if you're planning to visit Washington, D.C. this spring. Hello, my name is Rob. I'm a tour guide and the founder of Trip Hacks DC Tours. Normally on this channel, I do tips and advice for visiting Washington, D.C. However, in light of the recent COVID-19 situation, I'm going to need to take a break from that usual content. What's important is helping you figure out what to do if you'd planned to visit Washington, D.C. this year in 2020. And before I get started, I want to say that this situation is evolving very rapidly. I'm recording this video at 10 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, March 14th, 2020. But by the time you watch it, some of the information will already be out of date. So please consider subscribing to this channel, as I do plan to make new videos as the situation evolves. It's also very important that as you follow along, that you're using only verified, reliable sources of information. So in the description of the video, I'm going to leave links to the CDC and WHO websites where you can get information about COVID-19. And please also get your news from trusted sources. For me, that is the Washington Post. Now, I do have a Washington Post subscription, but they are opening up their COVID-19 articles for free if you don't. When you go to WashingtonPost.com, look for the bright red Live Updates button. You will see that once you click on that, all of the articles in that section are free to read. You can also sign up for their Coronavirus Updates newsletter. All of the articles there are free to read as well. Okay, so back to you and your Washington, D.C. trip. What should you do about it? Well, if you'd planned to visit this March, right now, you should cancel your trip if you haven't already. I can't tell you how much it pains me to recommend that. March is typically one of the busiest months of the year for Trip Hacks DC Tours, and one of the months that I personally count on to make up for the slow winter months that we're just coming out of. So trust me when I say that I do not take this recommendation lightly. The reality is, I could not, in good faith, recommend that anyone travel here right now. The most obvious reason why is because once you get here, your trip would be pretty awful. Almost every single Washington, D.C. site is currently closed through at least the end of March. That includes visitor access to the Capitol, the White House, and the Supreme Court. It includes all of the museums. It includes the National Park Service's indoor sites, like the Washington Monument and the Old Post Office Tower. And even my usual backups, like going to a sports game or a concert, are not options either. The NBA, NHL, XFL, and MLS have all suspended their seasons. The Kennedy Center is closed, and the smaller concert venues have canceled all shows of all sizes through at least the end of March. As far as the big events, they are also canceled. The National Cherry Blossom Festival, one of my personal favorites, will not happen. But the most painful, as far as I'm concerned, is that all Trip Hacks DC tours through at least the end of March are also canceled. The other major reason why I cannot recommend that you come here right now is because the authorities are currently advising that we engage in social distancing. I'm not going to go in depth in this video about what that is or exactly what it means. So please check out the official resources that I'm going to leave in the video description so that you can get all of the correct information. Now, if you have a trip scheduled for April, the situation gets a bit trickier. It is possible that some of the sites could reopen by April if the situation dramatically improves. But possible does not mean guaranteed. So if you have a trip planned for April and you decide you're just going to throw in the towel and cancel it now, I honestly can't really fault you for that. However, if you have a trip planned for April and you decide that you're going to wait it out, I can't really fault you for that either. What I will say is that you should check the cancellation policies for your flight, your hotel, and any activities that you have booked. That way you will know what your final decision date is. For trips in May and beyond, I don't really have any good advice. There is just way too much uncertainty right now to know what things are going to look like by May. Things are just happening so quickly, not just day by day, but in many cases, hour by hour. So it's really hard to think a week ahead, let alone a month and a half ahead. So if you have a May trip booked, you probably want to wait it out a little bit longer just to see what happens. Now let me close by saying that I personally hope that the COVID-19 situation resolves quickly and things get back to normal as fast as possible. The reason why this channel is possible and why I've never had to pursue sponsors or ask you to give me money on Patreon or anything like that is because of TripHacks DC Tours. So the quicker that we can get those back up and running, the better that I will feel about the future of this channel and the company. And if you made it this far, then I think that you are dedicated to your trip to Washington, D.C. So please keep watching TripHacks DC videos, send them to your friends, and give this video a thumbs up. All of those things can help, and they don't even cost you a penny. And when you do finally come to Washington, D.C., if you want to sign up for a TripHacks DC guided tour, you can check out triphacksdc.com to see all of the tours that we offer. Stay safe out there.